This teach station won't appear horrifying at first. However, agree with me. It's the scariest one I've ever seen. Out of nowhere, a peculiar noise echoed from the teach tunnel. The unsettling sound grew stronger, even messing with matters round. Sebastian, a man with inside the crowd, sensed something off. He pondered leaving, however hesitated a chunk too long. People close to the tunnel are tormented by the eerie sound. They're visibly converted via way of means of it, their eyes converting colors. They commenced hurling themselves onto the teach tracks. As the teach approached, they moved in the direction of it, as though they had been captivated via way of means of it. In the chaos, Sebastian almost tumbled onto the tracks, however miraculously saved his balance, narrowly warding off disaster. Shortly after, his spouse called, urging him to return back domestic without delay and to select out up their daughter, Anna, from school. As the scenario around him escalated, Sebastian witnessed his co-people starting to take their personal lives proper earlier than his eyes. Fear took over, and he fled the office. Outside, a person fell from above and landed on his car, destroying it on impact. The town had descended into chaos. People ran in panic. Vehicles sped out of manage. Accidents happened everywhere. Somehow, Sebastian controlled to get away and rushed towards Anna's school. Upon arriving, he located the workforce lifeless and the constructing in ruins. Fires burned via lecture rooms, and youngsters have been paralyzed with fear. Grabbing Anna, he shielded her as they made their manor via the destruction. On the manor, they handed a church wherein a clergyman stopped him. The guy tells Sebastian that what's taking place is a divine gift, a miracle. But Sebastian had no hobby in miracles, as he most effective desired to hold his own circle of relatives safe. Without some other word, he persisted on. Outside, he subsequently noticed his wife. But simply moments once they had been reunited, a dashing automobile got here out of nowhere and struck her, killing her instantly. 9 months later, Sebastian and his daughter Anna are spending time collectively in a deserted skateboarding stadium. Their peace is unexpectedly shattered after they listen to noise and flee, most effective to be ambushed via way of means of a set of blind robbers who borrow all their food. Though hurt, Sebastian attempts to combat back. However, Anna stops him. Later, he thanks her, understanding the attackers have been simply ravenous and desperate. On the radio, there's a caution pointing out that a few extraordinary extraterrestrial beings are outdoor and all and sundry is suggested now no longer to appearance without delay at them, as they could manage minds and motive humans to damage themselves. Sebastian, together with Anna, covers his eyes and is going outdoor. He procedures a few strangers who've additionally included their eyes with fabric and asks in the event that they have any meals as he hasn't eaten in days. At first, they hesitate to help. However, Sebastian tells them he's an engineer and is aware of the region of his company's generator, which could offer energy and heat. Suddenly, the peculiar strength of the alien air of mystery starts off-evolved to technique them, and that they determine to take Sebastian with them. They lead him to their mystery facility wherein many survivors are hiding. One of the men, Marcel, notices Sebastian's harm and tells him to look Liliana, a medical doctor who's additionally in hiding. She treats Sebastian's wounds and asks what happened. He replies that he were given right into a combat with a few thugs. Later, she offers him meals, and all of the survivors accumulate round a fireplace. A blind guy starts off-evolve to percentage his story. Pronouncing the extraterrestrial beings almost stuck him. However, he blinded himself with a knife and slightly escaped. He additionally stocks that the extraterrestrial beings mark their sufferers with a peculiar eye image of the forehead. Later, while everybody is asleep in a bus, Sebastian all of a sudden begins off-evolve the vehicle. Liliana asks him why. He is turning on. However, Sebastian coldly says that the entirety goes to BK and accelerates. The others awaken and attempt to forestall him. However, he grips the wheel firmly and drives faster, destroying the ability and the entirety in his path. Eventually, the bus crashes and flips over, injuring everybody. At that moment, the extraterrestrial beings arrive. Mariel, closely injured, stumbles out of the bus and by chance seems on the extraterrestrial beings. He, without delay, kills himself with a bit of sharp shrapnel. Liliana additionally steps out, trembling, however preserving her eyes shut. Sebastian lightly tells her now no longer to fear and forcefully opens her eyes together along with his fingers. She catches a glimpse of the extraterrestrial beings and dies. Another guy sees the extraterrestrial beings and throws his lit cigarette into the leaking petrol from a bus, putting off an explosion that engulfs the entirety in flames. Sebastian sees the golden mild of souls leaving through the victims' bodies. It is then discovered that Anna is simply a phantasm of Sebastian's mind. She praises him, calling him a savior, and tells him he did the proper thing, as now everyone's souls could be in a higher place. Sebastian walks via a darkish hall and is derived throughout numerous humans crucified on a wall, their palms bound. Most are already dead. However, one guy is slightly clinging to life. With his closing breath, the person whispers that the creatures tormenting them are monsters from every other galaxy, and that they may kill everyone. But Sebastian, unmoved, quietly insists they may be angels. He lightly closes the death guy's eyes and watches in his thoughts as his soul drifts upward into the sky. Moments later, Sebastian units off searching for his subsequent victims. He notices a lady coming into a pharmacy, her eyes protected with fabric like many others who had discovered now no longer to examine the aliens. She hears the sound of his footsteps in 4 stalls, asking who he is. She introduces herself as Claire. Sebastian starts off-evolved to copy his normal lie, claiming he is ravenous and hasn't eaten in days, however is aware of the vicinity of a functioning generator. Soon of Claire's companions, Rafa and Octavio, arrive with their dogs. Suspicious, they argue towards taking in every other stranger. However, Claire is intrigued with the aid of using Sebastian's point out of the generator and insists he might be useful. Just then, the alien presence attracts near, leaving them no time to argue. They're pressured to take Sebastian with them and flee to their hideout. That's a secured nuclear bunker. Inside, Sebastian is added to the relaxation of the group. Among them is Sophia, a younger German girl, and an older couple, Isabel and Roberto. Claire offers Sophia a bit of chocolate she had added from out of doors, lights up the little girl's face with joy. Rafa and Octavio pull Sebastian aside, urging him for extra facts approximately the generator. In Sebastian's thoughts, Anna warns him now no longer to show the reality and urges him to lie and get them out of doors as quickly as possible. He follows her recommendation and admits he made up the tale approximately the generator. Infuriated, Rafa and Octavio put together to throw him out of the bunker. But simply as they're approximately to eliminate him, Sophia intervenes, talking in German. None of the others recognize her, however Sebastian translates, claiming she stated now no longer to throw him out. This surprises the institution, as till now no person had understood Sophia or maybe regarded in which she had come from. Grateful and curious, the institution makes a decision now no longer to exile Sebastian, and as a substitute assigns him the project of locating out extra approximately Sophia's origins. Sophia then starts off-evolved to percentage her tale, with Sebastian translating for the others. She explains that she changed into together along with her. Mom going up a ramp once they all of a sudden heard shouting. People started to panic, pushing and shoving. Worry took over. She noticed many humans taking their personal lives with the aid of using leaping into the river. Somehow, she and her mom controlled to break out and conceal in her van. While inside the van, they heard a radio broadcast bringing up a secure area inside the mountains. Hearing this, the institution asks Sophia in which the area is. She does not recognize exactly, so she alternatives up a chunk of chalk and begins off-evolved drawing it. On the wall, she sketches a citadel perched on pinnacle of a mountain. Claire shows it is probably castle. Sophia maintains her tale, announcing that she and her mom blindfolded themselves and left the van. But at some point of their breakout, she fell and were given separated from her mom. She in no way noticed her again. Overcome with emotion, Sophia starts off-evolve to cry, and Claire lightly consoles her, explaining to the others that she discovered Sophia there and took her in. The institution starts off-evolve to discuss whether or not they ought to head towards the Citadel. Sebastian argues that it is really well worth trying.